everyday thing. It's an everyday thing. It's an everyday thing when you let your nuts hang.
Bombshell tonight in the Nolan Wells investigation. A mystery altercation emerges. And not with the guys that took him to the island on the boat. Does this change things? We cannot ignore it. Good evening. I'm Nancy Grace. This is Crime Stories. I want to thank you for being with us. Where was he? He wasn't floating in the water. He wasn't on the shore. Tonight, evidence of a so-called mystery altercation is emerging. Straight out to Crime Stories investigative reporter Dave Mack. Dave, what can you tell me first about this so-called mystery altercation? And this is not with the men that went to Horn Island on the boat. You know what? Let me just be clear. Crime Stories is not a symposium, a gathering place for a witch hunt. We want the truth about what happened to Nolan Wells. We are here to convict no one yet. And if evidence of a mystery altercation with other young men arises, we are pursuing it. Dave Mack, what do we know about some mystery altercation? We think after the Triton left Horn Island.
Nancy, this is a mystery altercation that is being described through social media as something that took place around 5 p.m. that day. This is 30 minutes after the Triton already left. And in this particular account, a Bertram boat was seen leaving shortly afterward at a high rate of speed. Now, this social media conversation claims that a person, one of the passengers, pretty certain Nolan Wells, was part of a group that was, quote, almost fighting around 5 p.m.
Bip, 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 bip. Whoa, wait. Hold on, Nellie. Did you say 5 p.m.?
Yes.
Okay. The reason I jumped in, Dave Mack, is because 5 p.m., if Nolan was seen in an altercation at 5 p.m. on Horn Island, that's after the Triton, had already left. Let's see the boat, control room. We're talking about the boat leaving Horn Island. That boat. Had that boat already left when this altercation occurred? Dave Mack, that's a yes, no.
Yes.
Listen.
But the person said in the DM to another kid that is associated, not any of the kids that I interviewed or talked to, but that could be associated to some degree, that knew Nolan, that this person wrote a message saying, me and my husband saw you arguing with Nolan, and to the effect of you're going to spend the rest of your life in prison.
Now, if that is true, if this DM is out there, I know Snapchat is like, Snapchat deletes your messages when you send them, but you can actually save the message. Once the message is viewed, it goes away. So if that's true, that somebody did see him, and this person says, me and my husband saw you and you'll spend the rest of your life in prison, why hasn't this person came forward? Or if they have came forward, I haven't seen anything of it yet. But it would be important to know what these people saw.
Nolan and another person that he may have been in an argument with, to me, are people that need to be investigated.
Guys, let me first introduce Cheryl McCollum, Colgate's Investigative Research Institute founder. Let that sink in at coldcasecrimes.org. She's a star of a hit podcast that I have listened to on loop, by the way, Cheryl McCollum. And I don't like much of what you're saying, yet I keep listening. Zone 7, she's author of a brand new book, Swans Don't Swim in a Sewer, solving the cold case of the Flint River killer's daughter, and more. But for my purposes tonight, she's a forensics expert. Greg Morse, before I even get to the merits of this, where I meant to go with this is everyone has been focusing on the young men that were on the boat that took him to Horn Island. Then we get this audio that we're trying to corroborate, where seemingly in the background you hear them talking about trying to revive Nolan Wells on the boat. Is that even real? We don't know yet. Or has it been doctored? Trying to find out. I've got experts telling me, renowned experts, by the way, it's real, and renowned experts saying it's not real. It's just like a trial, right? Where it's expert v. expert, who's telling the truth.
Sure.
I wanted to talk about this mystery altercation. If it happened at 5 p.m., that boat was already gone. Now,
Well,
as
you're
much
right.
as some people want to hang the young guys on the boat, I want to make sure we hang the right person. If there is a mystery altercation after that boat lift.
So at this point, Officer Brandon race baited Tatum. Now he has done his job. He has sat out there and made sure that nobody blames the young boys. He's shucked and jived his way to making sure that nobody blames them. So at this point, nobody's blaming them because we understand that they were gone and Nolan Wells stayed back. But the people who stayed back, those are the people we need to hear from. Now, if Race Batum Tatum will go out and have conversations with those people, that's since he can get these exclusive interviews. Now that you've done your job in saving those white boys, you saved them. Go and find out who did it. Keep on interviewing people because a crime happened, and we want to know the truth. We need the answers.
We need to be investigating that altercation.
Well, you're 100% right, because the three young men that are, at least the people are saying are involved in this, that went there with Nolan Wells, there's a specific timeline
Put
from
him
what
up.
I read.
Put him
They
up.
needed assistance on their boat. They left at 4:30.
You
They had
just
called
gave me
CTO.
a chill down my spine. You can't introduce something because people say, I don't care what people say on either side.
No.
They mean nothing to me. What?
Nancy, that's the problem when we have things like podcasts today and people who are not qualified to talk about serious things like this. They're not experts. They want to get likes. Law enforcement is going to keep information close to the best.
He saw the DMs. I don't have
Okay,
a
so what does that
reason
mean? That's
think he
not
didn't
legitimate.
see the DMs. Now, many people are arguing that he has taken a side.
Yeah, if he's seen the DMs, those should have went to the police officer. Eventually, with him even seeing those DMs, he would have posted it. He would have posted who it came from. Somebody would have said something. I don't think if he's seen these text messages, these Snapchat messages.
We have not taken a side. I'm on the side of finding out why everybody got back to the mainland except Nolan Wells.
Well,
And
listen,
nobody
these
saw
are
anything.
teenagers.
Nobody knows anything. It's just like Tupac Shakur got shot on the strip
Nancy,
at Vegas, and we still don't know what happened. Nobody saw a thing. That's BS.
These are
What?
young men hanging out. It's not unusual one may stay behind to hang out with other people. None of that is unusual for teenagers partying and having a good time. So that fact alone doesn't
Morse.
mean anything. What?
Where's your cell phone? Where is your cell phone? And try not to lie. Where's your cell phone?
Okay. Right here.
Oh, really? Because here's mine. So you want to tell me Nolan Wells stayed behind and his cell phone went without him? I understand. Don't everybody start screaming that he didn't want to get it wet. Of course he didn't want to get it wet. But there's ways around that. You can go put it on shore in your shoe like everybody else does to hide it from people and then retrieve it when you go. But no, he let the boat leave with his phone. I agree with his mother on that. That is not Nolan Wells. He was never away from his phone.
So that doesn't mean anything in
Like I said, you can go get one of those plastic things. Once you start looking up stuff to go on the beach, everything to go on the beach. If you're on TikTok, if you look for beach shoes, you'll see beach shoes coming across your screen. Then you'll start seeing the phone covers, those plastic phone covers. You cannot tell me that these people did not that nobody had their phone on this beach because they didn't want to get it wet. That's crazy to say. So Nolan Wells was the only person in their friend group that wanted to leave his phone on the boat. But since he was staying back, he was like, well, I'm going to leave my phone on the boat. I'm not going to take my phone with me. That don't make sense. Why he would leave his phone on that boat unless they left him there without him going back to the boat and getting his phone. They just left him there. Cause I would be like, if my friends is leaving and my phone is on that boat, phone, shoes, whatever, I'm taking my stuff I'm taking my stuff with me. There's no changing it. I don't know. So why his phone was still on that boat, that's a mystery.
of itself with what's coming out about this. You're talking about him staying behind. You're talking about there's evidence that he was there after 4:30 p.m. If he's there after 4:30 p.m., Nolan Wells on that island hanging out with other people, that's it. The fact that a cell phone is on a boat and he's not as a teenager doesn't really mean anything at all.
Okay, you know what? I asked you about a mystery altercation, and should we be looking in that direction right now? And you're like going on and on about the cell phone.
No, but
everybody
that's
that
my
owns
point.
a cell phone, which is everyone,
but
knows you never
Nancy,
leave
that's
without
my
your cell
point.
phone.
You have to look at what really happened. If there was this mystery altercation, then yes, the police need to be investigating that. They need to be looking into that.
You can see his hands well enough to know he was not in a fist fight. Yeah,
Right.
that's convenient, Joe Scott.
he
Look,
was not in
I'm
a
not
fist
trying
fight.
to convict anybody. I'm trying to find the truth. I'm trying to find out if this evidence of an altercation really happened. And to further muddy the waters, now we have more witnesses stating what they saw.
Another report came to me of someone saying that they saw Nolan with a girl, and they believe that they saw Nolan and this girl struggling in the water. Not necessarily drowning, but struggling. Like it was obvious enough that the person was concerned when they saw Nolan in the water, and he was with this girl.
That's from Officer Tatum's show. Cheryl McCollum, it seems to me that that's not true. Because don't you think if a witness saw one or two people, quote, struggling in the water, I would try to help them.
There go Officer Race Batum Tatum lying again. I wouldn't even put that account out there, because why would somebody see two people struggling and not throw them a life raft? In fact, whenever you go on a boat, you're supposed to have enough life rafts or life vests to protect everyone on that boat. So, meaning if it don't matter how many people was on there, you had enough to help those people onto the boat. And I'm sure if a police would have pulled you over, you could be like, well, we saved these people from, they were struggling in the water, and we helped them out, and we're taking them back to mainland. It's that simple. Nobody's gonna say I seen them, but we just kept driving because we didn't know if they were actually in trouble or not. That's false. I don't believe that one bit. Wherever he got that information from, whoever said that is just trying to muddy up the waters. They don't really want to. It ain't true.
It makes no sense.
And they did nothing?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. That wouldn't be their focal, that they would pay attention to those two people that are struggling to see, is one going under and not resurfacing? What can we do to help? The idea that they would watch that, see a struggle, and then what? Turn back and finish barbecuing? That doesn't make any sense to me at all.
Not at all. So this is a problem, Greg Morse. You're a veteran trial lawyer. we're getting so much information, and a lot of it is inconsistent. And that is why you have cross-examination, so you can test the evidence, test whether it's true under the fire of cross-exam. When you have conflicting stories like this, my instinct is to go with the one that makes the most sense. What do you make of these claims that Nolan was struggling in the water? I really believe if he had been, quote, struggling in the water, that either she or her friends would have come forward by now. I mean, what about these guys on the boat that had already left? Don't they want to save them? I mean,
Well,
I'm just trying to find
right.
out what happened to Nolan. And if this is true, it may place him on the island after they left.
Well, that's it, and that's what the police are doing. Is they're going to run these leads down, and they're going to try to verify what's credible and what's not before they go to a grand jury. They're going to exclude information that they think is completely uncredible. However, all of this information, if people are arrested at some point in the future and charged with a crime for Nolan Wells' death, then all of these conflicting stories, all of these different timelines, they become a conflict in the evidence. And as you know, Nancy, there's 3 ways a jury can find reasonable doubt if this ever gets there. And one of those ways is in a conflict in the evidence. So these are all favorable things that would benefit a defendant or defendants down the road. However, there's a reason why law enforcement does investigations. Professionals do it, not podcasters talking about it. Verified sources, all of that is nonsense.
Yeah, I think that stuff is just being put out there to discredit whatever situation happened within this case. I don't think this is credible information. I would hate to know if Officer Tatum is getting random information from random people and expecting to, blow this case open with crappy information. Also, Officer Tatum has had people on his show who not only do they continue to try to discredit Nolan Wells' situation, they come on there talking about how they know him. Like, we've seen the guy, he said, I was the first person to give Nolan his first haircut. Why that matters, I don't know, but he offered nothing to that case. Again, we are not blaming his friends who left him on the island. We now are looking into who else was on that island, who saw him, and that group of people on that phone call from Cito, which was there the last time Nolan was spotted on that island. Anyway, let me know what y'all think about that in the comment section.